Yo, Joe! Hey guys, now it's time for the real movie review. If you know from my other channel, I did a spoof movie review, but it's time for a spoilerific movie review of G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra. So if you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch this, or if you don't mind being spoiled, go right ahead. So first off, I just want to say, since I saw the first trailer or TV spot at the Super Bowl of this year, 2009, I've been excited for this movie. I've been excited for this movie when I first saw the pictures, but when I saw the trailer, I was really excited. And so many people are like, "Oh, G.I. Joe looks terrible. The CGI looks crappy. It's gonna be stupid. It's an Iron Man ripoff." Well, you know what? Screw you, because it's an amazing movie, and I love this movie. This is up there with Revenge of Fallen. In some ways, I like it better than Transformers: Revenge of Fallen, but I'm more of a bigger Transformers fan. But my God, this movie was never boring at all. The action, the story. Steven Sommers, who's directed the Mummies films, he just did an amazing job. I mean, dude, I I was just blown away with this. The plot got me going. I didn't mind all the changes, like how Duke and Baroness were engaged before, and the Baroness used to be a blonde, and then how Cobra Commander or Rex is the sister of the Baroness, and I didn't mind all those changes because it was kind of cool. I really digged it a lot, and it made made the Baroness character more interesting, made Cobra Commander more interesting, made Duke more interesting. So I like all the interconnectedness of the story. Well, let me talk about the characters first. So Channing Tatum did a great job as Duke. I loved and how in the backstory when he's trying to go back for Rex or Cobra Commander, and he basically the bomb blows up in his face and gets his scar underneath his right eye, which is, if you know, that's a signature for the Duke toy, and he did a great job. Um, I liked him before in movies like She's the Man and other movies, but he was just great. He really brought a lot of character to Duke, especially with the connection, the love triangle with the Baroness and as she's named. So I really liked that, and I liked his relationship with Ripcord, played by Marlon Wayans. And I loved Marlon Wayans. He's always been funny in the scary movies and the Wayans brothers, and he did a great job. I really liked, like, there's a scene he has with Scarlett, who's played by Rachel Nichols, which she's hot, and Rachel Nichols is Scarlett. She is gorgeous, and she kicks ass, and she's smart, and loved it. But there's a scene with Scarlett, and after she's fought the Baroness, when they attack the G.I. Joe pit, and man, he is just, he is so, I know, you just feel for the character. He's telling Scarlett, hey, you can't win every fight you're in, and there was just a lot of depth to his character. He wasn't just the comedy relief. And speaking of which, there were so many fan nods. The cartoon, like there's a point after the Duke and Ripcord are attacked by the Baroness and Cobra, and they first meet the rest of GI Joe. My gosh, there's and Ripcord is injured, and basically they have to fill him up with some like serum to make him feel better. And when Heavy Duty and Heavy Duty was great. I cannot pronounce the actor's name to save my life, but Heavy Duty was great in the film. He was totally badass, and I loved his accent. But yeah, when he's looking at Heavy Duty, it's like, oh wow, your hair is so lifelike, and you have Kung Fu Grip, which is a great nod to the original GI Joe toys that Kung Fu Grip and in realistic hair. Also, there was a lot of great things. They do say "Yo Joe" a couple times in the movie. They do say "Knowing is half the battle" twice, and I was just cheering. There's so many little fan nods all around. I just loved it. Um, I loved that they're like, oh, Ray Parks as Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes, my gosh, he just had his mannerisms. I didn't mind the mouth on it at all. It's kind of cool and hardcore about a ninja with a mouth, but he doesn't talk. And the fight scenes with him and Storm Shadow and Brian Hong Lee, I think that's the name. He was just great as Storm Shadow. He was evil and diabolical, and oh. Speaking of evil, Sienna Miller, oh my god, she was so freaking hot in this film. I've loved her in other films like Alfie and Factory Girl and all that, but man, she was badass, and I didn't mind there was no Russian accent at all. It was fine with me, but man, she was just gorgeous, and she kicked ass, and man, she could fight, and she was just the Baroness, and oh. I loved the character. I loved how she could turn good, but she's evil, and she's turned evil. But it's like the conflict in there was great. I loved and Dennis Quaid as General Hawk was great. He wasn't in the movie as much, but he was really great in it. I thought he was perfect for General Hawk. Um, I loved Brendan Fraser, who, if you know, he's been in the Mummy films. He was Sergeant Stone, which is very Flint-like, but man, he was great in there for the short time he was in there. I loved Breaker. Who played Breaker? I can't remember his name, but gosh, he was great too. The guy that played Breaker, his eye thing was pretty crazy. But even though Breaker was like a French guy and stuff, I can't figure out his name to save the life of me. But oh well, whatever. Oh, Christopher Elkinson, who you might know as Claude from Heroes, he was Destro. He had the accent and everything. He had the mastermind, and at the end of the film, he gets his silver mask, and it was great. One thing that I was sad about, and it's just like a minor thing because I like the character. Colvina Corva, who, you know, she's a Victoria's Secret model. She plays CoverGirl. Freaking Zartan kills her. No, why? That was a little sad, but besides that, oh, and Zartan, who's played by the guy that plays the Mummy in the Mummy films, he was great, and definitely the twist at the end with him as the president. Oh, it's definitely gonna set up the sequel. Joseph Laura Garrett as Cobra Commander, by the way. I loved his voice. It was very, "This is Cobra Commander, Duke. I will get you." I really love that voice. It was very Chris Latta inspired, but not too over the top. And then I loved, he had two different voices. He had the Doctor voice because he's the Doctor first, and then he becomes officially Cobra Commander. And I love the look, and I just can't wait to see the sequel. The action was just mind blowing. I loved everything from the attack on the G.I. Joe pit, the Paris Pursuit, the attack on the Arctic base. My gosh, if you don't see this film, you are dumb. I mean, this film, people were ragging on Revenge of the Fallen, that's the biggest movie of the year, but yet this movie has better reviews, and the action is non-stop, the plot is amazing, the acting was amazing. I just love this film. Please, go see G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra, or Snake Eyes will kick your ass. Ah, Yo, Joe!